Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Hard to believe, but we are closing in on a brand new year. And with that comes the opportunity to refresh. Clean slate. Many of us have New Year's resolutions. People tell me don't use the word resolution. Substitute it for intention. Whatever you're thinking, most of us have goals, whether we want to admit that or not. We're going to look at that in a totally different way in setting those goals and getting it done in the new year. And this is all what she does as a certified life coach. She's a TEDx speaker. She's an emotional freedom technique practitioner. She's our professional of the year. And it's so great to have her back. It's been a while. Michelle Mehta, how you doing today?
It's been such an honor to be here. I know it's been a while. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm doing fantastic as I'm closing in on this beautiful year. How are you doing, Steve?
Very well, very well. And I'm intrigued because we know these resolutions usually don't last long. Typically, historically, how long do they last?
I think by the first week of February, people have already forgotten about them.
Why do you think that is? Is it because it needs to be a habit and we don't make whatever the resolution is a habit?
I think it's part habit. I also think it's just people are just doing it because out of pressure. Like, I got to set a resolution because everybody else around me is doing it. And then they don't really have a plan to execute it, right? They're like, oh, I have to lose weight, but they don't have a gym membership, or they're at the gym and they're like, it's too crowded, right? So they start making excuses and they're not really fully committed to their resolution in the first place. And then it becomes too daunting of a task for them to keep up with it.
Gotcha. When it's to form a habit, and I always hear conflicting numbers on this, how long do you have to continue doing something before it becomes a habit?
I'd say 3 weeks, 21 days is the average. However, it depends upon what that habit is, what you're implementing, right? So it's a schedule. Is it calendar time? Is it blocked out time? Is it motivation, inspiration? What is your why behind this habit is what I also believe. Because if you don't have that strong why, that habit is going to fall apart.
So I don't know if I ever mentioned this to you, creating what's called a CPR. And there's different versions of it. That's just the name that this thing has, right? Context, purpose, and results. So I think that's what you're describing, your why. You know, what's the purpose? What are the results you're looking for? And the context in this example is it can be 2 words. It can be a sentence, but it's got to be one that's got power. And I'll tell you what mine is. I created one for some goals, and one of them, fitness goals. And what resonates with me, and side note, I'll be personal here. Like, I'll go to the gym, good intention, but I'm not stepping on the gas. I'm just showing up. I'm doing my thing. It's okay. It's not bad, but it's not good. I don't see, the progress I need. So I created that CPR. The context is Harper, Beast Mode 2.0. For me, when I say beast mode, it's like you're blanking pouring it on. You got to do this. You got to really push hard. So that's, I shared that because I think it's right in line with you say, what's your why? What's your why?
Yeah, what is your why behind that? And so what I've noticed in the last, and I've been doing this, I think maybe like almost a decade, I want to say, is setting a word of the year. And by doing that is basically an overarching theme of the year. So every single week, every single day, every single month, or every single quarter, you're focusing on something for that overarching theme. And what I've found is through this practice, I've been doing it for almost a decade or so, is I've been more congruent and more consistent and more intentional with my word of the year. So in the past, I've chosen words like abundance. And that was when I went gung-ho crazy and invested in 19 different coaches and $50,000 because I knew I was abundant enough to have that support system. I've had words like love, where I was committed to loving myself, right? I've had words like discovery. 2024 has all been about discovering who I am personally, professionally, with myself, right? And so my 2025 word of the year is execution. And some people are like, but how'd you come up with this word? And so I do this exercise. I've been doing this exercise for about 4 years now, and I highly encourage it for others to do, is do a snapshot of every single month that went by. So do a snapshot of your highs and your lows of January, February, March, and so on and so forth. And when you design that, you will figure out a theme that's been going on for that year. Because sometimes we're just doing the same thing over and over and over again. We forget that we even had a good day. Or we sometimes even forget we had a bad day because we're just stuck in the routine. And so this just is like, remember, going back in memory lane. What did I do well in January? How was February like? And I actually do it on an Excel spreadsheet versus a basic Microsoft Word document or even a PowerPoint slide deck, is because it tells you like what were the number of items that were highs and the lows. Because when you're on the high, it's a breakthrough. When in your low, it's a breakdown. And then did you stay there for the following month and the following month, or did you rise above it? So it gives you a whole analysis of your good, bad, and the ugly of the year. And then you do a summary of what did you discover about yourself? What did you find out for yourself personally and professionally? How did you grow? And so that's been my exercise.
Wow. Love, love, love it. Lots of questions here. So to choose your word for 2025, you need to go back and look at 2024 and
Yes.
analyze the good and the bad. And I'm encapsulating what you said to better understand it.
Yeah.
Do you do this in real time during the year? Do you keep track of every month with a spreadsheet, or is this you going back and thinking, yeah, how do you remember? How do you remember the
Um,
breakthroughs and the breakdowns, was it?
yes. I basically, so whenever there's a meeting or something, it's always documented in my calendar, right? So I go back in my calendar and I use the iPhone calendar. And so a lot of my meetings are pre-scheduled from that. And so I just go back and I look at like what was the highlight of the month, right? Did I do something different? For example, I started working with you guys, right? And you came into my world in April because I had my first interview with you in April and moved forward. And that was like my highlight. So a lot of these things are pre-documented in my calendar. Also, a lot of it is my own personal memory.
Okay.
Because sometimes when you do by month, what I found is it's too many details. So I like to just do 3 to 4 items per month, very high level, right? Because sometimes when you get too many details, then it's analysis paralysis, and then you don't want to move forward, right? So I like to just do it around December is a really big month for me. A, it's my birthday month. B, the year is ending. C, it's the season of the holidays, celebration of, how the year ended, anticipation for the new year. And so I usually do this around December, about like second or third week of December is when I sit down and I
Hmm.
analyze it, and I usually do it in a creative space because it's something about celebration. When you take the celebration energy and you bring it forward, you're going to get more of it, right? If you take that negative, I'm grumpy, you're going to get that more grumpy energy in the following year, right? So how are you showing up as the year is ending?
So for you, execution, that's a really good word, though.
You can choose it. You can have it. Anybody can have this
I
word,
might,
right?
but it applies to me, and I'm not trying to just say that. Like, what did I just say in terms of fitness goals? I'm going to the
Yeah.
gym, I'm doing it, but I'm not fully executing it. So that does apply. It really does. Of course, sure, I could say abundance, and that would be fine. The
Yeah.
abundance isn't going to come unless I execute some things, and there are things floating out there I have not executed. I will cut myself some slack. It relies on other people, so they got to come into and it's all good partners, whatever, whatever. Um, why did you pick execution?
Number one, something that was missing in my 2024 was I've had the plan of I know who I am now, stepping into my full embodiment as a coach, as an expert. Because, as someone that's invested in personal development, my business is a reflection of my inner work. And for the first time, I feel like I'm not there to learn anything new. I feel like I have all the tools that I've done because I've studied so much in the last 6 years. And I want to put away the education and I want to go into the mode of doing. And CEO is Chief Executive Officer. I've never been the CEO of my business because I've always been learning the business, never been executing in the business perspective. And so I thought 2025 is I'm not learning because every time I'm learning something, I hide behind, oh, because of this class I'm taking, I no longer have to do the thing. But now for 2025, I'm not learning anything new. I'm not in any programs. I'm not getting certified anything because I feel like I have more than enough certification. Now it's about moving that plan forward. And 2024 was about discovering who am I? How do I belong? Where do I
Mm,
belong?
mm,
And so figuring all of that, what's the next step is moving through. And, I was just like thinking, if I want to be the true CEO, I got to take the E and implement it a little bit better. And
right.
executive just seems like a title, but execution sounds like, oh my God, you got to do the thing. And so going forward every month for 2025 is about what is that one thing that I can move forward.
I love it. And I get visual, so I'm seeing with you as you describe that. 2024, you were putting fuel in the Michelle plane, and now it's on the runway. It taxied, and it's 2025. It's ready to take off now.
Exactly. Because I had this thing called the fear of success.
Oh,
Right.
like do we have time? Let's do that. Let's seriously. Uh, it's a real thing.
A lot of people have the fear of failure. What if I fail? I, on the other hand, have the opposite. What if I succeed? And what if I over succeed? And that has been my fear when it came down to dating, because a lot of people I would date were intimidated by my success. She's a TEDx speaker, she's an author. How do I, she knows so much more than I do. And so they were intimidated by me instead of being inspired by me. And so I used to hide behind that, like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to launch my business until I find the man. Or I'm not going to say anything about my business until the man accepts me for who I am. But through the discovery phase, I became ownership with myself. And because of the timeline therapy that's part of neurolinguistic programming, I was able to remove that belief system altogether of fear of success. And so now there isn't any fear. It's just ready, set, go. Let's freaking do this thing now. It's about damn time.
I totally hear what you're saying. I can relate in a lot of levels. People would say to me, you were on a dating site or an app. Don't you meet people? People know you in this area for the radio, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't meet a lot of people. And just what you said, I think that's I feel the same exact way. That
Yeah.
there's an intimidation, but then they're not the right people.
They're not the right people. And that's why it's about when do you let them go? You know, they're not the right people. So how long are you going to carry on that journey with the wrong person? Or do you have the ability to cut that off? And that works with clients. That works with deals. That works in sales. Like how long are you going to keep selling the bad product to a good person or a good product to a bad person, right? You got to know that balance. And if
Mm,
you don't know who you are, if you don't believe in what you're selling, that's going to show up.
yeah, for sure.
And that's where the inner work comes through.
Know when it's time to go.
Know when it's
Uh,
time to go. And
yeah.
that's why, we have December 31st as let's wipe this off and let's start a brand new year. I mean, we're programmed that way.
Mm.
Every
Uh,
week is a new beginning.
Success. I love that you open the door to the fear of success. It can look different ways. You could be fairly successful. Things are good, but you're thinking of doing something else, but you need to potentially leave this situation or job before you can do this over there.
Right, yeah.
How do you get the strength, the courage, the faith to do that?
I think what happens is having that conversation, talking to an expert, right? That
Yeah.
says this belief system didn't just come from I woke up one morning and I had this thought. Some of these belief systems are ingrained beyond our even lifetime. They could be created when you were in the womb. They could be generational. They could even be past lives.
Mm,
And our unconscious mind does not know time. Only our conscious mind knows time. So working with a professional that knows the tools of how to go back in that time to figure out where was that first time you ever had this belief system and then letting that go. Also, if you happen to wake up with a thought one morning, you're like, I have this fear of success or fear of failure, asking yourself, what decision did I make today? Or what decision did I make yesterday that got me to be thinking this way? Because sometimes we're not aware of what we don't know. They're in our blind spots. And so just having that conversation, A, with yourself, with the journal, or even asking a professional that knows this stuff, that have studied this stuff, and that are experts in this world that they support you. And because I didn't know I had fear of success, until the conversation opened up. And it's like, why aren't you taking that leap of faith? Why don't you show up as the CEO of your life? And I'm like, something is missing. And when I discovered what it was, it made me realize I was like, okay, this was obviously not my programming. It was not my belief system. It was instilled by generation.
Mm. I remember, based on everything you're saying here, when I started a marketing company in 2007, and I remember creating my email signature. And I had my pick. People do that now and have for a couple of years. I was doing it back then, with logo and everything. And then I put a title, President.
I
And it
love
was
that.
just like, oh, this got real. This got real. And now you feel that you have to live up to it. And it's almost as if setting the intentional word for the year, because now you have to live up to that title, that word, whatever it might be. I am going to share that, but what do you call it? The word of the year? What would it be in
You can
place
call
of
it
the
the word of the
resolution?
year. I mean, instead of a New Year's resolution, pick a theme of the year. What is your overarching theme of the new year?
But
Right?
I
What
like
is,
it in one word.
yeah, and you can just say, if you had to pick one word, what would that word be? Or,
Hmm.
a lot of people are doing social media posts is, what is your word of the year? What is your 2025 word of the year? And people are responding with that one word,
Hmm.
right? And some people go, how do I find my one word? Go back and do an analysis of the previous year.
Give me
Go
s-
back and think about your dreams.
Give us some examples of words that you've seen, maybe you've used, maybe you've heard of. I'm just trying to get a. My head is swirling right now, but
Yeah.
execution does really fit uh, me at this moment. Me at this moment.
So Steve, let me just ask you, if you had to describe your 2024, what was the one word that you would, if you had to look at your 2024 from January 1 to present, what would be that theme of the year for you?
Train wreck. No, I'm kidding. Let me think about that. Hmm. Um, Give me a sec
Sure,
because
take your time.
I'm scanning my mind right now of the
Yeah,
things I did, the things I never thought I would ever do that made a difference. Um, Discovery.
yeah.
Discovery. Yeah, I
So what
discovered a
would
lot.
you want 2025 to look like?
It really is execution, and I don't want to write on that, but all the things that I want to accomplish need, and when I say execution, it encompasses a lot, including
Yeah.
follow through. That's all part of it. Um, and it would be execution. Here's this idea. Here's that idea. And it's been floating around for a couple of months. It needs to be executed. Um, a lot of that needs to be. It really
And you know
does.
what? Discovery, mine was Discovery too, 2024, right?
Was it
And now
really?
it's execution. Wait, it was
Don't lie.
Discovery.
Don't lie to me. Come on.
No,
You're just saying.
I swear to God, I have a sticky note that I created in January 2024, and the word was discovery.
How funny.
And so you and I are both in alignment. I mean, it just shows how congruent you and I have been in the last like 6 months that we've known each other of what we've accomplished, right? You and I have been on a similar journey of figuring ourselves, going out in the dating world, right? Making business decisions. Both of us almost losing our voice completely, getting it back, right? So navigating, do we like who we really are? And if you don't know who you are, the first step is to figure out who you are. Who are you?
Hmm.
And you're more than just the roles that society puts us on. You're more than just a son and a father and a husband and a spouse and
And a
a wife
title. I know we talked,
and a title.
president
Yeah,
and
you're more than
executive.
that.
Yeah, you are more than that. And it's interesting. This really does make you think because I was thinking of, would a good 2024 word be resilience? I don't think so because that was a couple of years before. So it
Yeah.
doesn't perfectly fit. But discovery, I discovered a number of things about myself. That were impactful. And yeah, that word just every time I see a picture in my mind of 2024 situation, something new, a wake up to a situation, discovery. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that doesn't apply to But okay, don't want to run out of time here. But let me think about this. That's in hindsight. I use
Yeah.
that word discovery. I don't know if I would use that word to set the intention as my word of the year at the beginning of the year. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes in one of the books I've written, I actually do a called a mid-year review. And the name of the chapter is called the mid-year review.
Mm,
And that is usually around June because that's six months mark.
sure.
Sometimes, our intentions change, our year changes, our
Oh, yeah.
goals change. So there's never a pressure to choose it in December for January. It is just another tool in your toolbox to think about how do you want to live your life? What is your intention behind how you want to wake up when January 1st, 2025 rings in? And if
Mm,
you want to start, you got to start now because January 1, 2025, it's already too late. You've already missed the boat. So you got to start planning now
yeah.
for the next thing. And that's why they say set a goal. Don't start on the first of the month. It's too late. Do it a couple days before the month begins.
Well, look at the Michelle plane analogy. The plane doesn't go and take off. Helicopters do, but we're talking planes here. You you need to get momentum. That's December, the last week of, for the plane to take off. Great talking with you today. Really
Great
was.
talking to you
A
too. And
lot.
I'm just so excited for, just getting to know you on a deeper level, Steve. And also just what a beautiful way to ring in 2024 and begin 2025.
Yeah. And every time we get together, I see that your insight, your skills, your coaching, like it goes deeper and deeper and deeper with the arsenal of information and knowledge that you have behind you. It's mind blowing. Best way to find you, your website is your name, right?
It is my name.
Okay.
Absolutely. MichelleMehta.com. Social medias, I am Michelle Mehta. And I'm also giving you a gift of my time. So go ahead and book a call with me. Let's have that conversation to discover what your word of the year is for 2025 and beyond.
Michelle, two L's, and Mehta, Mehta, MichelleMehta.com. Thank you for being here. All the best to
Thank
you
you.
and your family in the holidays. And here is to, for us, an execution filled 2025.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well, I think he is.
Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.